Hey, in this video, I want to give you an overview of what we're going to be doing in the moderation interaction effects module. Basically, moderation is just another word for interaction effects. And in this module, we're going to be talking about interaction effects in, in an OLS regression sense. An interaction effect in OLS regression is the same thing, that the idea of an interaction effect is the same as it was in ANOVA designs. So an interaction effect that means that the effect of one independent variable on the dependent variable depends on levels of another independent variable. So basically, the magnitude of effect of one independent variable on the dependent variable varies as a function of another independent variable. So in our ANOVA designs, we were talking about interaction effects between two categorical variables. In regression analysis, we can have interaction effects between two continuous variables, interaction effects between continuous and categorical variables, and interaction effects between two categorical variables. And so we're going to talk about all of those in this module. These two chapters in the Darlington and Hayes book, I think, are really great, pretty easy to understand discussions on interaction effects in multiple regression and different ways to probe interaction effects in multiple regression. Also, Christopher Preacher's website here, I think he has a really good introduction into interaction effects in multiple regression. This introduction right here is actually pretty short. You might even want to just start with this chapter here. We're going to follow along a lot with what Christopher Preacher's doing in this primer here. And the same thing is talked about in the Darlington and Hayes book too, but this is a good kind of quick overview of interaction effects, and then Darlington and Hayes go into a little bit more detail. Here's some more if you want some additional information on interaction effects. You'll see here's a link to some online calculators that will help you probe interaction effects not only in multiple regression, but also in like multi-level modeling and structural equation modeling senses too. So here's a link to the online calculators, and here's a link to the journal article that these calculators are based off of. And you can see I have them linked here as well on Canvas. And there's also a good discussion of interaction effects in the Pederser textbook. You can see I've highlighted the pages where he discusses interaction effects. And you can find the link to the Pederser book in our introduction module up here. It's saved down here. So there's a link to the text, and then you can see the pages it refers to. If you haven't already done so, download the RLM macro that's from that's associated with the Darlington and Hayes textbook. Download it right here. And then if you open the textbook, Appendix A in the textbook goes into detail about what each part of the macro does. And I'll talk about it some in my regression moderation activity here. We'll use it. It does a good job of probing interactions in certain situations. You can also download it if you just, Google the name of our book. It brings up the book's main page. You could download a zip file which contains all the data sets in the book, as well as this macro for both SPSS and for SAS. So all that's right there on the website, but also direct link just directly to the macro, the SPSS syntax file for it. What I'll do is I just save this a specific place on my computer and then use the insert file command in my syntax to just call the macro each time. There's nothing, you don't need to make any adjustments to the syntax. You just need to be able to call it and run what you need from it. And we'll go through a little bit of that in the regression moderation activity. Here, you can see in the activity, I'm going to make another video. I'll walk through part of the activity with you. But since we're not going to be meeting face-to-face anymore this semester, I think the activity should work pretty well. You can work on it if you want to get in a group with other people in the class. That's fine with me to go through it together, but that's not required. You could even do it virtually, kind of work on it together and pass questions back and forth. And so in the activity, we'll walk through like a categorical by continuous interaction. What we'll do to probe the interaction. Usually when we find a statistically significant interaction effect, the first thing I'll do is rewrite the regression equation in terms of the moderator and calculate simple slopes for the effect. And then I'll graph the interaction. And here I've provided you just some sample syntax that will just kind of quickly graphs it. And you just have to change these highlighted parts. Here's where you give your simple slope equations. You can give each one of your lines a name and then a range for the x-axis there. How to test, get significance test, statistical test on each simple slope. We'll walk through that. How to estimate a continuous by, so if you have two continuous variables, how might we go by testing their interaction and probing the interaction effect. So I should try to walk you through each one of those steps here. What do you do for categorical by categorical interaction? This is essentially the same. You can do the same thing we did in ANOVA design. A regression model with only categorical variables is, that's the definition of an ANOVA model. And then finally, the activity ends with sort of introducing you to different kind of categorical coding schemes. We mainly talked about indicator or dummy variable coding, but there are lots of other ways that you can actually code categorical variables, and it helps you answer different substantively interesting questions. I think Darlington and Hayes have an excellent review of these different coding schemes. And I talk about 4 of them here in this activity. We got the difference between dummy variable indicator coding, effect coding, sequential coding, and Helmert coding. And then if you look in the syntax starter, in my comments, I have how you would interpret each one of the coefficients, so you can see the sample syntax file for demonstration. And then finally, I give you some recommendations by Aiken and West, and they have a very well-known, very popular multiple regression book on testing interaction effects, and kind of their recommendations regarding different coding schemes for assessing interaction effects. So you can kind of read through that. So I'll post another video where I'll walk through some of this activity with you as well. I wanted to kind of give you just an overview of what all we have going on in this module. The data set for the activity is saved here. And then there's a syntax starter guide to help you with syntax for each one of the problems. Whenever you finish the activity, go ahead and upload your answer key and sample and your syntax file to Canvas. And just note in there if you have any questions, concerns, issues, anything like that that I can address. I'll my answer key in my syntax file, which my syntax file isn't that much different than the syntax starter. I gave you most of it. But you'll see my answer key pop up there too. I've tried to annotate my syntax file some, so that'll pop up the next day after the regression, the moderation activities due. Uh, I'm giving you a week to do it. If you need more time, that's fine. I understand things are kind of crazy right now, so take all the time you need. The activity itself isn't graded. It's just if you do it, you'll get credit for it. And particularly what I'm looking for is if you have any questions or something that makes sense, let me know, and I'll try to explain what's going on there a little bit better. Even though we're not meeting face to face anymore for the rest of the semester, I'm still here if you need me. We can set up virtual meetings in Zoom if you like, so we can still talk about what's going on. I'm always happy to answer questions over email if you post something in the message board as well too. All right, well, I'll see you all then at the next module. Thank you.